morning, everyone. Where's Stan, who wrote this letter? Dear Gangaji, you speak with the most amazing intimacy to me. And then it hit me today. The intimacy is me. Yes. The intimacy of presence before my mind has a chance to get anything up, to set anything up. That's right. It's almost embarrassing to the mind, certainly shocking. Yes, because there is an inbred arrogance. The thought, I'm in control. Let's see, who am I? I'm this person, I have this history, I have this day ahead of me. But this intimacy, this unmoving intimacy, the mind collapses in its shock, in that recognition. At the moment, I feel hopelessly and helplessly dependent on your unwavering commitment, presence, and stillness. Whose unwavering commitment, presence, and stillness? Want to come up? You're not taking notes or looking at a picture album or... Always possible to avoid the most intimate of moments. And it's here, it's not in some album. However exquisite that may be.
This is shocking too.
Yes. Must be. Must be. Hi.
I'm so used to seeing you on a TV screen. It's like...
Yes, even more intimate. Oh, come on. Yes, the flesh too. So I want to address what you say here because it's very important. You say, at the moment I feel hopelessly and helplessly dependent on your unwavering commitment, presence, and stillness there. That's fine. You can project that on me if you like. I don't have any problem with that. But since you project it on me and you write it in a letter, it must be addressed.
Yeah.
The very fact that you perceive or see unwavering commitment, presence, and stillness is proof that that unwavering commitment, presence, and stillness is behind the seeing as well as at the end of the seeing. You follow that?
Yeah.
Yes. So the danger in your recognizing only what is seen as unwavering commitment, presence, stillness, is that if this body, this unit, shifts its behavior, then that gives the mind a very good excuse to go, oh well, wasn't unwavering commitment, presence, and stillness. It's on to the next thing. It's unwavering presence and stillness. You follow this?
No, try again.
If you're relying on some beautiful object, a person, a mountain, an ocean, a teaching, as where the presence and commitment and stillness is.
Right.
You are overlooking where the capacity to see stillness and presence is.
Right.
And that's a big...
Yeah. But...
Yeah.
When I'm around you, and... I want to take responsibility for this stuff.
Good,
but when
you must. That's what this conversation is about.
It's just, when I'm in this situation, this opens up. And then when the situation's over...
This is my point. Mm-hmm. This is my point, you see. So when you're in this situation, this divine, beautiful, holy meeting, not to trivialize that which evokes this recognition of presence and stillness and unwavering commitment, but to have that be reflected back, that reflection to reflect back, so that when the disappearance of that which evoked that, which is bound to occur, the source of the seeing of that is recognized to be here always. Always here. This is the point of our meeting. This is the point of it all.
I have that resolve to see that.
Excellent. So then what occurs that blocks that? Because you say then when you leave, it's not there. Do you see that when we are together? Do you see that it's coming both ways?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Great. It's not someone feeding you.
No.
It's recognizing the source of the nourishment is the truth of what is always here. Always. Then, of course, the perceived other has to disappear. Otherwise, what kind of Leela would this be? We'd be back to the umbilical cord. It's like, oh, hook me in. So there has to be a disappearance of that. That's the challenge, that's the test, that's the push deeper to discover where is that here, now, in this moment of apparent disappearance, or is this beautiful lady was speaking yesterday of the dry period. So the resolve is really the resolve to tell the truth. It's not the resolve to feel a certain way. It's not the resolve to be open and oceanic and in state of mind at all times. Because that's the mind's trap. That's the imitation of resolve, with a picture, an image of what it was like before.
Yeah.
Right?
Right?
The resolve is to tell the truth. Absolutely. Tell the truth. And the deeper truth. And the deeper truth. Because that is finally what self-inquiry is. Telling the truth. Experiences and the most divine experiences luckily appear. Such luck, such grace that they appear. And luckily disappear. Truly, luckily disappear. Otherwise you would think it was the experience rather than the source of experiencing. When Papaji died, there were two very strong feelings coursing through my body. One, initially, of this bliss, really experiencing the bliss of Papaji's death, and the grief at Papaji's death. And the recognition, finally, that his death was equally as important as his appearance in my life. Because without his disappearance in form from my life, I couldn't have really known directly that who he is, what he pointed to, who one is that which can't disappear. if it's based on, oh, my Guru alive, radiating his grace to me, his physical presence, a letter from him, hearing his voice, gone. The next I see is a video of his body being burned, of his skull being crushed. It's like, right, it's gone. It's gone. And what does that mean? It means a deeper opportunity to discover, what was he really pointing to? What was he evoking within me? Where is it? Has it gone? It cannot go. And this can be discovered. It cannot go. His body will go, as all bodies go. Physical bodies, mental bodies, circumstantial bodies, emotional bodies, they all go. They appear and they go, they appear and they go. Millions of times in a day. But the presence that is eternal, you do not come and go. And we have met for that revelation. We have fallen in love for that revelation. And then the challenges begin. Papaji told me that when someone begins to awaken, all the gods and demons of the past appear to reclaim that one. So you say, hello. I was told you would come. Not, oh no, stay away, stay away. I have to always be feeling this. It's like, okay, this is the deeper opportunity to see, who am I? What is it that does not come and go? Of course we are conditioned to want the bliss always. That's all right. I'm not even saying change that. Just recognize it and invite what appears in. It's already in. Might as well be courteous. When something happens, courteous, that's a flippant way of saying it, but what's behind courtesy is a welcoming. And when you welcome an enemy, you really welcome an enemy. The enemy is seen for what it is, deeper than the enemy.
I'm glad you're saying this, because it's not, it is bliss too, but I've actually been in a washing machine this whole weekend of just all this crap coming up.
Yes.
And the rest of the letter's about the crap. And
we'll compost that.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's how you do it. You're right. What I'm seeing is, even just to do the simple things of just letting go of the smallest story takes tremendous resolve.
Then go right to the biggest story.
Well, that's where I actually did.
Go right to the biggest
The big stories are hitting, yeah.
Yes, the biggest ones, yes.
Yeah.
So what makes it difficult? What is it that's feared will be lost if you let go of some story? Small or big?
It's some kind of, I don't know how to put it, some kind of rigidity that I lose.
And if you lose that rigidity, what's at stake?
Well, there's nothing at stake when
you really lose it.
Yeah,
I understand it, but what we're examining now is, what is the thread that makes it difficult, or the knot, rather, that makes it difficult? What is the belief that if you lose this rigidity, what will happen? What's the worst that can happen? We're not talking about the good side now. We're talking about what's the worst that can happen.
From that side of it, being wrong.
Being wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, then take this opportunity right here to be wrong. Be really wrong.
Yeah.
Failed, lost, hopelessly wrong. Stupidly wrong. Everything that is feared, bring it in right now to see that. Every story about being wrong, in past, present, or future. Bring it to this moment of, okay, so what? Wrong again.
Or, gosh. I want to get to the core of this thing. Huh?
Good. Then you invite it. It has been haunting you, but that's because you're running, so it's behind you. You turn and face it, and you say, come in. I'm meeting wrong. I am merging with wrong. We're all very happy to merge with right. But that's only half the story. This is the other half of the story. Right? Wrong.
Oh boy.
So what's the feeling then? What is deeper than this thought, I am wrong, or I could be wrong?
There's a little bit of sadness or aloneness.
Excellent. This is now sinking deeper into the inquiry of what is here, what is really here. So sadness, aloneness. So then the meeting of that is the willingness to be absolutely, completely, totally sad, alone. Finally. What is that? Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a beauty to desolateness.
A beauty to desolateness. This is getting closer to the core. We are used to the periphery of desolateness and then running from it because it appears gnarly and dry and dead.
And vast.
And vast, because death is vast.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to worry him now.
Excellent. Excellent. What is that?
I don't know.
Beautiful. Beautiful. To be where you are without knowing where you are, consciously without knowing. I'm not speaking about going into some stupor, not knowing, or practicing not knowing. Alertly not knowing where I am. So you don't know where you are, but you know that you are. Yes. This fear, this ancient, cellular, primal fear of the desolation and the aloneness of death. This is the invitation. Because everybody will meet this. At the end of the body's time, there is this absolute aloneness, leaving all that has been known, all that has kept one company. Finished. Over. Appeared and is now disappearing. And there's the recognition of that usually. There's the denial of it for 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years. And then there's a recognition, oh my God, really alone, really desolate, really dying. This is the opportunity. Before that moment, this is the opportunity that Ramana seized as an adolescent. To face that directly, immediately, right now. To meet that. To be alone. We have so many stories. Every story is about an avoidance of that. Won't happen, not yet, later. Or a kind of perverse distortion of that, wanting it to happen, waiting for it to happen. Still an avoidance of it. To meet that fear is to destroy the whole purpose of the thought, I am somebody. It's huge. And everything in the mind arises to deflect away from that. Every subtle and gross strategy, temptation, demon, God, appears to say, no, don't go there, not there. Get rigid, get strong, not there, get it together later. But this is why we meet. The encouragement, yes, that. All the churning that you speak of that's happened this weekend is just maybe the panic about it's really going to happen, I'm really going to meet this, or just getting the stuff out of the way so the meeting can occur. Who knows? But it's appropriate, all that churning. You're very welcome. Yes. once this has been met, everything in the universe lines up to challenge and support that.
Oh boy.
Yes. Yes. That's when living begins. Not stiff in a casket. You know, when my mother died, they pumped her with all this stuff. Formaldehyde? And I tell people she looked better than she looked, the last 30 years of her life. Maybe we should do that now. But that's what this rigidity that you're speaking of is an attempt to do. So death doesn't get me. Death doesn't get me. But no matter how much rigidity is there, no matter how much formaldehyde, finally that body, maybe it's an expert like the mummies, maybe it'll take thousands of years. But the body will return to its source. And who are you? This is the question. Be the answer. Where's Jeannie? Jeannie. Thank you for coming into my life and giving me the gift of myself. I don't give you the gift of yourself. I point out where the gift of yourself is. Where are you? I don't give you anything. That's really the truth. I know it appears that way. It seems like that. I appreciate that. There's no problem with appearances, but we're here to tell the truth. I'm not giving you anything. I'm pointing where it is, because that's what my teacher gave to me. For over a year now, I am experiencing something I'm confused about. Will you please help me? When I go to spiritual gatherings, satsang, meditate, or even close my eyes to bless my food, I go into a deep level of silence that is not comfortable. When I open my eyes, my body feels tired and I feel spacey and I don't function very well. On Saturday, I went to Eli's satsang and something new happened. When I opened my eyes, I felt emotional and just wanted to cry for no reason. I then realized that something must be going on that I was not aware of. Maybe I am resisting something or need grounding, more exercise, or something. Yes, maybe, but it's still funny. I was looking forward to my first intensive with you. I closed my eyes and didn't hear anything you talked about. Well, that's success, I would say. And I'm not asleep. That's excellent. What can I do to get through this? You want to come up? It's just you're an angel, you know, and angels aren't used to being on this earth plane. So. And you close your eyes and you experience what it means to be in a human body, which is uncomfortable and tiring.
But now I'm facing my very biggest fear is wanting to come up here and be with you, but really deeply afraid to do it.
Yes, but that's all over, because here you are. So there was something stronger than that fear. If that fear had real power, first of all, you never would have written a letter that may have been chosen, and you would have said, I can't come up. You would have bolted. You would have left. You would have never come to this whole intensive. So the fear may be present, but it's not the biggest presence. What's the biggest presence within you? What's bigger than the fear?
I don't know.
Well, it's time to find out. You've paid enough attention to the fear. You may have to meet the fear to discover what's bigger than the fear.
Oh, that's the unboundedness. The unboundedness, myself, the universe,
yes.
Everything.
Yes, that's right. Yes. And so in the immeasurability of that, what is some discomfort?
Well, when I go to satsang or I'm with a spiritual group, I just get lost in that silence, and there's not a fear or anything. It's just I can't seem to function very well when I come out. What is that?
What do you mean when you say you can't function very well?
Well, it seems like I go so deep, and then I come out, and my body feels very heavy, very tired, and I just feel just like I'm not integrated or something.
So you go into a very deep samadhi, or you go into a deep absorption into nothingness.
And then I have a hard time functioning in my activity.
Do you try like splashing some water on your face, or?
No.
You could try that. You see, that half of the room, at least, is saying, oh, I wish I could go into that very deep space. To heck with functioning. But the ones, and the other half, the ones that go into that deep space go, yeah, what about functioning? I don't know what to do about that.
Well, I love your satsangs, but yet when I listen to you, I just feel like, wow, I just want to close my eyes, and then I don't hear what you say. I don't.
Yes, you do. That's what I'm saying. What appears when you close your eyes. That's what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with the words. What I'm saying is working, if in fact you go into that deep space. That space is home. That space is the nourishment, and it has the wisdom to take care of your body. And maybe your body is really tired and needs to not function for a while, or certainly not function as it has been trained to function. I don't know. It's possible. It's also possible to trust that space. You love it. I mean, that's obvious. It's a great gift, this deep samadhi. The truth is, it's not necessary for realization, but it's a gift. It's a beautiful gift. It's a treasure.
Well, when I was with Eli on Saturday, and I came out of it, why did I feel so emotional and start crying?
Well, I don't know. I'll speak to Eli about that. Finally, it doesn't matter. You know, I mean, I could give you lots of theories, and some maybe would be correct, and some totally incorrect. Like, you know, you needed to cry, you haven't cried in a while, something deep was released. You absorb somebody's emotion next to you. Who knows? Who knows? Doesn't matter. That's all after the fact of the depth of being still.
You make everything so simple.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't make it simple, though. It's like giving the gift. I don't make it simple and I don't give the gift. And really, it's much more simple than I ever speak it. My intention is to speak it as simply as it is, but always I've spoken it much more complicated than it is. It is as simple as that which you experience before you start thinking about it.
Gangaji, the first time I saw you was in Iowa, and I never watched television, but I had it on, and I saw this blonde lady, and she was speaking such profound truths, and I thought, who is that? Who could that possibly be on television? and then I had to turn it off, and I had no idea who you were. And then I started hearing people talk about this blonde-haired Western saint, and I thought,
saint, that's not me. Not me, someone else.
And I thought, that's who she is. That's who that lady is. I thought. And then I found out about you were on television once a week in Iowa, and I started watching you and seeing your videos somewhere, and then I thought you were so beautiful, physically and on all levels, and I just loved you so much. And then you came to Iowa, and I saw you for the first time. And when I saw you, I was disappointed.
Go back to sleep.
Because I didn't feel that same love for you when I saw you. And then what I realized was that what I loved in you was an aspect of myself that I loved.
Yes.
And somehow I had metabolized it and I had integrated it, and I no longer had that same love because it was myself.
Yes.
And
who am I?
Huh?
And who
myself.
am I? Yes.
And I'm just so happy that I can have that experience with somebody like you.
Yes. And where's the love now? Is it located just here?
It's everywhere.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. And the intimacy that is here, that we all mean when we say myself, that intimacy is recognized to be, other too. Other too. Maybe it's first seen as other, and then you say, oh, it's me too. Oh, me, other. Oh, same. Not because you have learned it, but because you realize it. Trust yourself more and more, deeper and deeper.
It seems to be there's deeper and deeper levels of that freedom. I know. I just think I really got it, and I feel really happy, and and then something else comes up to bring out more fears. I was in a living situation, and I was afraid of one of the ladies that lived there. I was afraid to come out of my room because she'd holler at me and get mad at me for no reason. And this went on for some time. And then one day, I thought, Jeannie, you just have to face it. And so I did. I went into it, and I realized that was an aspect of myself that I was afraid of. So I faced it and I went into it and I was so scared, and it lasted for a while, and then it went away, and then I realized because I faced it, I changed her. Because I had created that.
Because she is yourself.
Yeah, and everybody saw the transformation in her, and I wasn't afraid anymore. I was free.
This is so good. This is so good. This is so good. Because what appears to be selfish, I have to face this for myself, is revealed to be universal. People used to come to Ramana and say, what are you doing? India is falling apart. Get off your couch. Come, save people. He said something sublime. And his truth in being true to himself, this is what brought us all together. So in your willingness to tell the truth, in your willingness to really investigate what is true, what is real, what is here, now, always, it appears that it has something to do with you as a person. But that's just the very surface level of appearance. The emanations of that, the instantaneousness of that investigation. We are all a part of Ramana's initial awakening. That moment is still here. It's still reverberating inside each of us. And how that reverberates out, well, be true to it within you as you are demonstrating, and then let us see. Let us see.
Well, then it seems like there's more and more fears that come, and then I guess if you just face it and you realize, and you be aware of it and be vigilant, you can dissolve all of them as they come up?
Well, I don't teach dissolving of fears. I don't have any problem with fear. So I wouldn't counsel you to dissolve things that come up. I'm more interested in your simply meeting fully what arises.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, good. Good, because there's a big difference. If you're learning how to dissolve fears, how to get rid of what bothers you, then that is still selfish. It does still have to do, well, what will enlightenment give me? Or what will this technique give me so that I can feel better, so my roommate doesn't bother me, or so the world doesn't bother me? But in your willingness to really meet, then there is an innocence that's present. You're actually there to meet, not to get rid of, but to meet. Whether it be death or fear or the illusion of the personal self, to meet. Not to get rid of, you see, because if you have in your mind to get rid of, then the mind is still in charge. And there may be the appearance of getting rid of, but the mind is in charge. But to meet, to really meet in innocence, with no desire to get rid of or to keep, then the mind has to be still. There is no activity for it. There's nothing for it to do. As you know, when you really meet someone, you're just there with them. When you really meet an emotion, you are there in it. And if you meet someone and you decide what that someone should be doing for you, that someone should leave or stay or be better for you or give you more or like you more, then it's not a meeting. You never see that person. You see that person as some object to fulfill your desires. And that's the same old story back to the umbilical cord. So the possibility is to give up the infantile desire that anything, even the dissolution of illusion, or negative emotions, or negative thoughts, will give you nourishment. Then the opportunity is that you can meet negative emotion, illusion. You can meet anything and discover nourishment. This true nourishment of oneself is everywhere, in everything. every phenomena, every thought, everyone, as you discovered. It's myself. It's myself. And when an aspect of yourself is recognized to be myself, it's free. As you recognized in what you call roommate, it's like, oh, it's a release. Struggle is ended.
Then I was wondering what the difference is between facing your own fear and then there's other situations maybe that there are some people that just have kind of a toxic energy or something that you don't want to be around. Is that different or is that the same?
It's not a formula that, now, like I was saying the other day, now the little book is facing fear, and so you walk into toxic situations and you say, well, these are aspects of myself, and it's like, this is a formula. Forget that. There is an appropriate action that comes from this intention to tell the truth. I don't know where I told that story about Papa G asking the questions of all of us. Was that in the San Diego satsang? Oh, well, I'll tell it again anyway, because it's really the answer to this question. So Papa G asked a group of us to answer some questions that an interviewer had given him. And one of the questions was from someone who lived over an auto body shop with very toxic noise going in India 24 hours a day. And he was wondering how he could keep his meditative practice, how he could keep his vigilance on what is still in the face of this environment. And so Papaji asked each one of us, well, what would you say, And I remember my answer, because I was very proud of it, I said, well, he needs to just find out what is unaffected by the noise, what is by its nature still. And Papaji asked some other people. So then the day came when the interview happened, and we were all like waiting to see, well, what will Papaji say to the answer to these questions that he had asked us, because he hadn't accepted any of our answers. And when this particular question came up, and the man said, I live over an auto body shop, and it's so noisy, and how do I maintain my vigilance over this space of quiet? And Papaji looked at him and he said, move. Move. What's the question here? So we sometimes take the most sublime teachings into our minds and use them as some kind of doing of non-doing. And the result of that is ignorance. So there is an inherent wisdom where you recognized in this situation with your roommate, oh, I can face that. In another situation that may look exactly the same, you may say, oh, I need to get out of this situation. It's not a formula. It's our desire to live by formula that keeps us rigidly attempting to keep away the experience of death. That doesn't mean you go stand in front of a truck so that you get the experience of death. You understand? It's like you get out of the way of the truck. The experience of death is always present. The experience of fear is always available. The fear that is physiological is no problem. Get out of the way of the truck. Take your vitamins. Stay warm. But when you are being bound by this attempt to escape what is inevitable, which is the absolute coldness of death, then you stop. And you face it. You meet it all the way, completely. And you're free. You're free. And you recognize, I have always been free. I just told myself I needed something to be who I am. And in telling myself that, I have bound myself in the belief that I am somebody. That belief is a lie. You are not somebody. The somebody that you think you are is not separate from who you are. But the somebody that you think you are is just a thought appearing in the consciousness that you are. Simply. Not just, but simply. This simply is so vast, so deep, so awesome. Okay. Thank you. Yes. What can I do for you?
This making things into practices, which then takes, how do I say? I find things, you'll say something, I hear something else, that seem to work for my mind to bring me back to here and dissolve into presence, and then that works for a while and then it stops working.
Because you give the work or the practice the title of the cause of bringing you back to presence without really telling the truth that you never left presence. There's no bringing back. So what has to be discovered is that presence is always here. Whether you're feeling good or bad, you don't need to change the bad so that you can feel good and then recognize presence. Presence is always here. It includes and enfolds and infuses good and bad. You are always here, regardless of what you're feeling, regardless of the state of mind, regardless of birth or death. And you can recognize that since you are consciousness. But if you practice that, the very practice itself becomes the implication that somehow you need something to be who you are. You understand? That somehow you need to do something to be. There's nothing wrong with doing something. It's just that it very subtly can become a rope of what you have to do to be. Because you know you are when you feel good or open or quiet. But if you can cut through all of that and discover that you are, regardless of your state of mind, then do as you like. You like to meditate? Meditate. You like to chant? Chant. You like to dance? Dance. And there can be a deeper dance with oneself, but that you need to do it. This is the link that has to be severed. You already are consciousness. You are never absent from yourself.
Something I feel tends to block my let go into that.
Yes, okay.
And it's a fear.
I understand.
And it's
before we get into that,
yeah.
So this is so good because something I feel tends to block my let go into that. That's right. So there's a feeling where I'm not feeling that, and I want to feel that. And so then the feeling of that becomes more important than the realization. It doesn't matter what I am feeling. I am here prior to any feeling. So we have a whole culture that's worshiping a particular kind of feeling. And in this culture we call it spiritual. In another culture it could be called drunk. Or stoned.
It
right?
has been.
Yes, it has been. So you just go from group to group to get what they can offer to make you feel good. Oh boy, Shakti makes me feel good. Great, give me more, give me more. So it is very important to not move from feeling bad. At least once. It's very important to not have to act out a sexual desire. At least once. To not take the drink. At least once. At least once. To discover where you are. Where what it is you are seeking in doing any activity is. At least once. Papaji says a split second is enough. But at least once. So that this knot of truth is over here and I'm here, and if I do the right things or think the right thoughts or practice the right practice, maybe I'll get there. Whoops, well, I got to practice more. Whoops, well, how come the practice itself is keeping it further away? It's because now the mind is in charge. This truth is here and you are here is a lie. There's no split. Even you in your worst aspect is inseparable from truth. Even that which denies truth, and that's the worst aspect, is inseparable from truth. The devil itself is inseparable from God. Inseparable. Only the devil says it's separate. So now, given all that, yes, it's perfectly legitimate to want to face fears or do the work or whatever, or practice even. But everything I've said, everything any teacher says, everything you've read can be co-opted by the mind and become the source of the bondage rather than the evocation of the freedom. And has been, you know that. You're infused by something you read, or a teaching you hear, or a practice you begin. You are thrilled with it. And then very subtly the mind starts to own it and direct it. Yes. This is called conditioned existence. This is called the mind doing its job. And all the while, who you are is free, present, here. And at any moment in the theater of that, you can stop. Discover what is here, under it all, in it all, before it all, after it all. It's so simple then. Doesn't mean it's not difficult at times, because our infatuation with complexity is huge. Because it's a power. And we're quite infatuated with the power of mind. And so it's huge. So there may be moments where you feel like you will die if you don't take the drink, or if you don't act out some desire, or if you don't do something to get you back to where you'd like to be last time. And you have to be willing to not move in the face of that really huge pain, attack, mind attack. Just to be willing to stop and see what is still here in this moment. What is unchanging. You discover that, then see.
So the fear that I experience, to recognize that even in that fear,
yes,
is the presence.
Yes.
In my running from the fear, in the running, I miss the presence.
Miss the presence, and yet in the running, the presence is still here. So if you are running, run harder, and running, say, what is still here? Does the running work? No, the fear is still there. Right?
Right.
So what is still here then deeper than the fear? You don't get away from the fear. Right? So perhaps the fear itself has something it is trying to tell you. Perhaps death itself has something to communicate.
It feels like that.
Yes.
It's running from this death.
Yes. So the opportunity is to, even if you're running, to recognize, I am running from something I cannot get away from. And that in itself is telling the truth. You know, and you start to catch on. I'm running from something I can't get away from. How many years, how many lifetimes I'm running from something I can't get away from. Oh, it's natural. You stop. You give up. You give up this illusion, I can escape death. And in giving that up, you get to meet death. And you discover you don't want to escape death. You thought you wanted to escape death. All the time, death is a Sadguru offering you yourself. And this death is present right now because we're all trained to run from it. And it's always been here to offer the truth of who you are. Not needing anything. Not being anything. Yet being. We're just very conditioned to want to fix ourselves. We see our limitations as humans, as a species, as individuals, as parents and children and lovers and friends, and we want to fix ourselves. And that's a noble intention. And then we want to fix, when we see we can't do that, we want to fix them. And then we want to fix the world. And then this is a mess. It's a big mess. Because from that, oh, you know, if you've read any history, if you read the newspapers, or you look at your family, it just doesn't work. It's like running from death. It doesn't work. And so you stop. Just at least once, stop trying to fix anything and see what is here. This thing that you were trying to fix, meet it. If you're trying to fix this thing called you, meet who you think you are. Who am I? Meet it and see what you find. Don't meet it to get rid of it. That's still trying to fix it. It's the same old thing. Only now it has the, the blessings of Advaita Vedanta or the blessings of a spiritual practice. Forget it. This is so simple that it is not a philosophy, it is not a religion, it is not a teaching. It's simply telling the truth. Simply. We are very practiced at lying. We have learned so much how to lie. I mean, that's part of the imagination, capacity to lie. And there's some beautiful aspects to that. Great stories, great literature can be written. Great lives can be lived. But as long as it's a lie, there's a running from death. So you have the opportunity to tell the truth. No one can make you tell the truth, and no one can tell the truth for you. And no one can make you lie. It's all up to you.
It's so scary to let go of everything. I feel that here, and yet it's so free.
Yep.
It's absolute both.
So what makes it scary? It's not absolute both.
Wow.
It's relatively both. But the feeling it to be scary is always right before you actually let go, right? So there's a thought connected with what makes it scary. I mean, it's not scary on its own. Letting go is quite wonderful on its own. What makes it scary is some storyline, some thought. What is the thought that you tell yourself?
About control.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. If I don't have control then, but then you tell the truth. All my life I have been seeking control. And I don't have control. I mean, there's certain areas where as a human being you have control, and those aren't the issues. And there's certain areas where you have no control. And those are the issues. Those are the issues. You have no control there. Tell the truth. And then you already see. It's like running from death. You see this attempt to control is useless. It's not there anyway. It doesn't work. It only makes you rigid. Nothing wrong with rigid. It's not inherently bad. You're not a bad boy if you're rigid. But as you say, rigidity just keeps you from experiencing what's already here as free. So it's unnecessary. It's an unnecessary addition.
I see, so often I see you and I see clearly my own self. Mm-hmm. I don't know how, but I just...
Yes, you don't know how, because you're out of control. If you knew how, you'd be controlling it somewhere. That's very good. Very beautiful. So in this moment, just sitting here together, nothing happening. Really nothing is happening. Everything that it is being imagined to be happening is really not happening. Are you willing to let go of that imagination just in this moment? Om Shanti.